Now what if I wanted to swap this $20 note for just 10 bucks? You'd take it, no questions asked. What then if I said you could have a luxury car with enough gear to justify a six-figure price tag for just 60 grand? Well, you might have a few more questions on that, right? Here is the answer, the new Hyundai Genesis. It arrives in Australian showrooms this week, priced from $60,000 for the base variant, which features a long list of standard equipment and a comprehensive safety package that has resulted in the car scoring the highest ever ANCAP crash test rating. Available in three variants, with the mid-spec Sensory and range-topping Ultimate, each commanding an $11,000 premium, the Genesis is designed to rival the likes of the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes E-Class, but in reality will likely challenge their understudies, such as the Holden Caprice, Lexus ES300 and Volkswagen Passat. Each is powered by a 3.8 litre V6 that produces 232 kilowatts of power, 397 newton meters of torque, and drives the rear wheels through an 8-speed automatic, with an average fuel consumption claim of 11.2 litres per 100 kilometres. But the big question is, how does it drive? And is it genuinely a match for the European competition? Well, on first impressions, this car is quite impressive. The engine, first of all, is strong. It's got a good sort of linear power delivery with a nice sort of V6 exhaust note when you get into it, but otherwise quite refined and generally quiet on the road. The 8-speed automatic is also really well matched. Smooth, seamless shifts, quite unobtrusive in the way that it goes about its business. And the suspension, well, it's been tuned by Hyundai in Australia for local conditions, and I'd have to say they've done a really good job on balancing comfort and dynamics. Now, it doesn't quite have the sporty traits that the Europeans are renowned for, but it soaks up the bumps quite well, has a safe and secure nature about it, and the steering is really well weighted. As for inside the cabin, well, it's got great vision, the seats are relatively comfy, it's got plenty of gear, but it doesn't quite have the modern sort of touches that those other competitors do. All the switchgear feels a little bit last generation, and there are some plastics that let it down, like these hard plastics on the door and the top of the dash. It doesn't quite exude that top shelf luxury that the Europeans do. Now, it's also got one smart function which came as a bit of a surprise. The analog clock here in the dash is actually hooked up to GPS, so it changes time according to where you are located. And I have to say, this car isn't short on space. There is plenty in the back there for 2 or 3 adults to travel long distances in relative comfort. Well, that's enough of what I think. Let's put the Genesis to a blind test and see if the general public reckons it's worth more than it costs. So, a bit of a Pepsi Max challenge. We've hidden the badge on this car. Do you recognise what it is?
No, I don't recognise the car. It's obviously looks like a quite upmarket and expensive car, but I'm not familiar with what it is.
I would say European. I would. It reminded me when I looked at it of a BMW, to be perfectly honest.
It looks European?
Yeah? What is it?
It's a Hyundai Genesis.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
Well, that would be a great surprise in terms of the way it looks.
How much would you think you'd pay for it?
70, 80,000.
Yeah, good guess. It starts at $60,000.
Wow, I'd be very impressed. Absolutely. If that's seriously what it's around, then absolutely. What great value for money.
If it's the rear-wheel drive, and I see the badge 3.8, then yeah, maybe, yeah.
Does the badge hold any reservations for you though?
A little bit, yeah.
The Koreans, I think, have come a long way since the days of the Hyundai Excel and what have you. So in terms of their quality and their approach, they're probably the new Japan.
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't turn a nose up at this at all.
What do you think is the safest car in Australia?
I actually don't know. It used to be the Volvo. Everyone used to pitch the Volvo, but
I really look at the ANCAP safety rating in terms of what is the vehicle that is the most safe for myself and my family.
Well, it's a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
Scored 36.88 out of 37 points.
There you go. How about that?
I'm a little bit impressed. I am very impressed.
People who are looking for the quality of an upmarket brand at a good value price, this would be a car that you'd want to test drive for sure.
In the end, the Hyundai Genesis is a car that has the potential to surprise, and not just because of its price. While not quite as polished as the high-end Europeans, it isn't that far off, and it does showcase just how far the Korean car maker has come in such a short period of time.